Thanks God, it's Friday. We survived another Corona week. That's a good opportunity to talk digital. Today, our star guest is Karina Stolz from Siemens. Karina, good afternoon. Thank you
Good
for joining
afternoon.
us today. Yeah, this is before
Thanks
we
for having
start
me.
our before we start our little conversation, I'd like to say hello also to Gerhard. Gerhard is sitting in our studio in Mallorca and he's doing all the technical things. The bad thing is he cannot answer, so okay, fine. Yes. Karina, first question. Of course, hardly anyone does not know about Siemens. Nevertheless, would you please like to tell our viewers a little bit about your company?
Sure. So Siemens has so many different phases. Many of you might probably know that they produce trains and they do something in mobility, but they also have like healthcare systems like CTs, MRTs. They also do a lot of stuff in infrastructure, digital infrastructure, building technologies. But the part of Siemens that I know very well is the digital industries, and this is all about companies that produce something. So the industrial backbone of all our companies and of all our lives, those are the companies that produce the stuff we use in our daily lives, and those are the customers of Siemens Digital Industries. And what Siemens Digital Industries, what you probably might not know, is that we have a huge software department, like probably 20,000 people out of the 70,000 that work in digital industries. They do a lot of software. And we also have a lot of hardware, which is the maybe the industrial backbone of so many companies. Maybe you have heard of the PLC, the programmable logic controller, which kind of is the brain of many machines that are in the factories, and the whole thematic portfolio that just enables the automation in so many companies. And Siemens is like this huge company that, yeah, get, um, that interact with so many customers all over the world in probably all of the countries that are available.
Yeah, I once talked to one of your competitors, one of the people of your competitors, and he was really, really annoyed because wherever he came, there was certainly one Siemens technician doing some stuff, and everywhere in the world. Yeah. Okay, you use the term digitalization. Of course, most people associate these term with things like now I can order my food online, or now we communicate via Zoom, Microsoft Teams, whatever. The type of digitalization Siemens is talking about differs from that. Can you explain the difference between digitalization in our private life versus how it affects companies?
Sure. So when the, the terms I often hear from people is, for example, in the schools, yeah, we're now digitalized. We have iPads now in our classes available. And I'm always like, that's not the digitalization everyone should be talking about. But okay, iPad is a great thing. And this is not digital transformation, but it's just the digital part. And there are three words that get up mixed very easily, and it's to digitize, to digitalize, and digital transformation. And I think there lies a huge difference in those terms, because to digitize just means you transform something into zeros and ones so that a computer can read it. To digitalize means you make as digital. For example, you don't have like printed out sheets anymore, but you have the online PDF version. And digital transformation, which Siemens is talking about, is the transformation of business models. Um, and this, of course, has to do something with to digitalize something and to make it available in the online world. But it's even more than that. It's, for example, in a private life, it would be when you wanted to listen to a song 10, 20 years ago, you needed to go to a store and buy a DVD or buy the CD of your favorite artist. And now you just go to Spotify or you go to Apple Music and you can listen to that exact song in exact the moment you want it to. And this is the digital transformation maybe of the music industry. And this transformation took place in many sectors of our private lives some years ago, and now it also transfers to the industries and to the companies that produce the stuffs we daily use.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this is well. I'm too old. My kind of music you hardly find on digital. Yeah, we did the music on our own. Yeah, of course. So that's of course a good view on all these stuff to make a little difference between the daily usage of some gadgets. But of course, when companies or when I listen to people when they ask for what is digitalization, what's the digital factory of the future, for example, they typically get a lot of buzzwords, and I often see, especially smaller company representatives, frustrated because there are so many buzzwords, so they don't know what at the end of the day is the difference between an iPad and a digital machine control. You help them by drawing a Siemens story of digitalization. Would you like to talk a little bit about this? Explain our viewers how it works?
Sure, of course. So the story that Siemens lies out in terms of digital transformation of the industry is the story of the digital twin. Actually, it's not just one digital twin, but it's two digital twins, one of the product and one of the production. And the amazing thing that you can do with the data you get from the digital world is to combine it with the real world and make this like closed loop of manufacturing, we call it. And there is where the beauty lies in, because when you not only have the machine or the product, and you see how it is produced, but you can also have layover over the model, over the digital model, and see how it's produced then, and then make some adjustments and like create a better process of it. Then you have a real game changer for the industry, because you then save a lot of time and resources, and you can try out so many different things in the virtual world that were not only possible in the real world. For example, you can try out what happens with your machine if you move it 2 times faster. I mean, if you tried that out in the real world, the machine would just be broken, I guess, and you'd lose a lot of money. But in the virtual world, you can just draw on some parameters and adjust it, and then you see if your hardware could do it, or if it's just another thought. And this gives companies so much flexibility in terms of trying out things, in terms of producing in a better way, in a more sustainable way, without wasting a lot of resources, and also with the knowledge, will this work or won't this work, without losing money in the hardware, because you've tried it out digitally.
Of course, that's one thing is the technical fascination of these bunch of solutions. I like that very much. There's another aspect I would like to mention. This was a what we call a visual memo, and you have another visual memo. But before we start to talk about this, what is a visual memo?
Actually, it's a term I created. So it consists of the words visual and memo. And visual is obviously it's something that draws your attention because it's not just written, because it has like visual elements in it, like icons, for example, and colors. And the other term memo stands for a summary. So my aim with the visual memos is to create a summary of any topic on one page. So it's a one page summary, but not in a like written word way, what we might know from Word documents, but in a very visual, appealing way, so that it gets the attention of people. And this one that you can see here, I made from a presentation of our COO, and he talked about the topic of digital enterprise and digital transformation in one of his recent talks. And I wanted to summarize the main aspects of his talk for all those who couldn't attend or were not able to listen to his 45-minute presentation. So now you maybe get a glimpse of what he was talking about, just looking at this one page and not investing like 45 minutes. If you're interested, then of course you can watch the whole talk, but it just gives you an overview and a very visual one.
Of course, not everyone needs every information which was provided, of course. But however, what I see on this visual memo is a lot of aspects which we can summarize as the usage of your solutions for your customer side. Can you give us some examples on that? What is the special advantage which a company can gain by using your solution?
Sure. For example, I guess a very recent topic is the topic on sustainability and how we use our resources. And for example, when you digitally transform your company, you can you don't need to use that many resources as you had to before, because you can try out so many different things virtually, and you can also um, increase your quality and not have to throw away so many parts that are already produced, because
Oh, yeah.
they would be wasted otherwise. But if you can adjust your quality processes according to the data you get from your machines and from the products within the process, you can save resources by transforming the processes in a very early stage. And of
I
course,
Yeah, I remember very well when we were waiting for those first mock-ups of our products, and it took days until they appeared. So you're telling me that now you only need to wait some hours or maybe some minutes, and then you can see your product at least on the screen?
yes, you could create a machine or a product virtually, of course. I mean, that was possible before because we have like CAD programs in R&D departments for like the last 45, 50 years. That's not the revolution here. But you can, for example, see how the different parts interact with each other. And this was not possible before, because you can now adjust some parameters and see if you could like run the machine with a smaller motor or with a bigger one, or how the smaller motor would affect your output, or how the bigger one would maybe increase your output very easily. And we also have an example of one of our great customers. It's Tronwood Engineering, and this is a packaging company, or they produce machines that
Ah,
do packaging. So when you imagine like this chips box, you have like a plastic bag of chips, and the machine from Tronroot is like filling those chip bags into big carton. And the average of their industry was to fill 160 chip bags in a package per minute. And what Tronwood did was,
oh,
they said, 160, this is not enough for us. We want to do 300. Like it's twice the amount of chip bags in the same time. And that's when they needed to adjust their processes. They couldn't just adjust the machine and say, okay, we like turn on this screw and do something differently here, but they just had to reinvent the whole machine in order to increase their
of
output or
course.
almost double it. And that's where they use, for example, the digital twin, because it gave them the flexibility to try out their ideas and their technical details in a digital model without having to create the machine and risking to ruin the machine just for their tests. And in the end, of course, they achieved their output of 300 chip bags per minute in a box.
Congratulations, that's great. And I would love to have this in my university as well, but maybe it's a bit difficult while I was learning, yeah. However, when we talk about these, let's say these possibilities, what does it affect concerning the time to market?
It can tremendously reduce the time to market, and we see this, for example, also in the consumer market, when you have shorter shorter time to produce a product and you want to get it to your market really faster. When we look, for example, at the automotive industry, I guess they have like 7 to 8 years they need from the first thought of a new car to it's at the customer's garage. And this is like a huge amount of time. And what happens in those 7 to 8 years? I mean, with the pace of our technologies changing, it could be obsolete. So what you could do, for example, with the digital twin is reduce the time to market, because you are very more flexible and you can work together with the departments very faster when you work, for example, with the same software. And there's also this example of Maserati, also a car producer, and I guess they reduced their time to market to half of the time. And this gives you, as a producer of, for example, cars, much more flexibility in terms of what do my customers want, what new technologies do I need to get in the car in order to be very competitive.
That's a competition. Huh? That's a good keyword, of course. Yeah. When we consider, let's say, we're the car company, we're the packaging machine company, when we consider, let's say, a little bit more abstract, all the different types of companies, what should they themselves ask themselves when they are thinking about what digitalization might mean to them?
Mm. So the important thing for me here is to say that digitalization is not an end in itself. So we just companies don't need to transform themselves because it's a trend and everyone does it, but it's deeply rooted, and it's, for me, it's all about adding value to my customers. So this is a question that it should not be new to companies, because they need to constantly ask themselves, what value do I create for my customers? And the only thing that digitalization does is it really wraps up, it gains more speed. So what customers want now may differ from what they want in 2 months. And maybe I need to ask this question very often, and also think about what value can I contribute to my customers. And when it comes to value, it is mainly also about data. And this is the really cool thing about digitalization, that you now have the capacity and the ability to collect data from everything, from devices, from machines, from your products, in order to deliver a better service to your customers. For example, when your car when you sit in your car and something's wrong, you don't want to stand somewhere in the middle of nowhere and your car is just broken, but you want to know maybe up front, hey, please go to the service station now. This is also something that cars have integrated, but this is something that needs to also be adjusted to the machine building companies, for example. They want to know when does the machine maybe, or when will it be broken, or what parameter changes, and this gives them the flexibility to adjust something or exchange a part before the machines really stand still. And this is also really cost efficient, and it saves them a lot of costs when they can prevent their machines from stopping and their productions from not running.
Well, I prefer German cars. They don't stop, and especially not in the middle of nowhere. So, but of course, I understand collecting data, especially when machines are in use. That's a fascinating thing. And I remember in former times we visited our customers and asked them about their experience. So to get the data to improve our machines. And I saw in your first a visual memo that you are now automatically collecting experience from your users. That's, of course, a fascinating thing, especially when you want to improve your machines. Yeah.
Mm. And it's not just about the shop floor, so about the production sites where the machine are running. It's also about how different departments work together. So, for example, with different kinds of software, departments co-work on projects, and it's not just the R&D company does R&D department does something, and then maybe in 2 months they will be talking to the production department, but they get into contact in a very early stage, and this also speeds up the whole process of product design and of process design.
All fascinating thing, but the next keyword is, of course, workflow, as you said. One of the crucial questions when we're talking about transformation is always the acceptance of these technologies in the context of transformation. What are your experiences with managing the transformation? I remember your title is expert for digital transformation, yeah?
Managing the transformation certainly is a task that should be performed by the CEO of a company. And the topic of digital transformation, sadly, is so often linked to, okay, we need to reduce our workforce and we're going to throw people out because their processes are now digitalized and we don't need them anymore. But that's not the case at all. I mean, I guess there was when the computers were invented, people were afraid of losing their jobs because the computer could replace them. And what happened is exactly the opposite. We have a whole lot more to do because of the computers. And I'm convinced that this is the same with digital transformation. It's not about losing workforce or getting people unemployed, but it's about changing their jobs and changing jobs they now do, and maybe they don't like them. Maybe they even don't like them, and this maybe sets the job expectations to a higher level. And when managing the transformation, I guess this is extremely important that the management of a company states that this is not about reducing the workforce. It's not about firing people. It's about creating a better version of the company. It's about being more sustainable because we need fewer resources. It's about gaining more speed because we want to serve our customers better. And it's about being more flexible. And this, in the end, helps to preserve the company and make sure that this company lasts. Because when this is also my opinion, or the topic of digital transformation, when you don't adapt, you are quickly falling out of the market, and then there won't be any jobs to do anymore for this company.
So one of your motivational factors is that you're asking what will happen without digitalization. So what if you miss digitalization?
Exactly, yeah. And I see that many companies, for the companies I talk to, they feel like they have a lot of time. And this is not a topic they need to be interested right now. And this is something we will do maybe someday in the future when all our competitors already did it. But this is not the message I want to state here, because when you don't do it now, someone else will. And this someone else might be a competitor you already know, because the competitor saw the chance that lies in digital transformation. But this also may be a competitor you might not know at all, because they kind of emerge out of nowhere. And with data, they create something that you thought now, yeah, they need like 20, 30 years of experience that we have in the machinery industry. And guess what? Maybe they don't. And they just like come out of nowhere. And then your company will be in a lot of trouble, because at the end, it's about the customer value. And when you lose sight of that, you are going to have a problem sooner or later.
Okay, great. So if we sum up your experience concerning the, let's say, customer side, don't focus on cost reduction, reducing the headcount. That's not the target in this case, and don't wait too long unless you want to exit the market. Yeah, it's a surviving strategy. Of course, your own company
Absolutely.
did a lot of movings until it became one of the biggest digital companies companies in the world. Are there any anecdotes you might have heard about or you might even have experienced during this definitely interesting transformation process?
Absolutely. I've heard a really great example from our production site in Bad Neustadt. And I mean, of course, we don't only tell our customers that digital transformation is something for them, we also do it ourselves. Everything else would be not credible. And they transformed the production site in Bad Neustadt 4 to 5 years ago. And this is a production site where they produce huge motors, and they needed to transform. So what the management did for first point is what we already talked about, is they stated this is not about getting people fired. We are not going to get you out. We are willing to be better versions of ourselves. We are the goal here is to make our production more flexible, to produce more outcome with the same resources. And we just need digitalization to make this happen. And this is something that the plant manager said. And he did not only say it, but he regularly kept updating the employees of what's going to happen. He just made the process very transparent. And I guess this is very crucial, that you don't have like a secret digital transformation department somewhere and you like don't hear ever of them again. But it's about regularly communicating and also stating to the other employees what this means. And second thing I heard was really amazed is that they had some kind of 1 hour per week where everyone could go to the plant manager and tell them his or her worries and ask them questions, and like have a place where you can be confronted with the fears you have, and we talking about it, and just not getting it in the way of becoming the better version of the company. And I guess this hour of talking to the employees regularly per week is something they also do now. Even their transformation is already in a different phase, and I guess
that's indeed a very good example, especially when we take into consideration the fact that we are trying to tell the people, the companies, that they have to tear down the silos and try to communicate very transparently. And I think that's an excellent example and something for other companies to pick up. So I hope many of our viewers will pick up this idea as well. I like that. Well, we are nearly running out of time now. However, you know that our good old tradition is that we offer our guests always at the end of our show 60 seconds to talk about themselves. So, would you like to explain our viewers why they should approach you and your company when it comes to digitalization of manufacturing?
sure. I guess I stated why this is important. It's about customer centricity. It's about creating value for your customers as a company. And this is something we have very good experience with, because we've done it ourselves in our production sites. There are so many production sites that are open to our customers. We go there regularly to not only tell them about digital transformation, but to show them what it impacted. And I guess this is the living example of why it works and why Siemens is a very good partner and the perfect partner for digital transformation, because we do it ourselves. We have the experience, and we have so many great and wonderful people that are willing to help you on this journey, because digitalization is not, it doesn't come out of a box. You can't just order it. It's a process, and you need to go this process with people that have already experienced that, because this makes it a lot easier. And that's why Siemens is the perfect partner for this.
And I guess Siemens in combination with you, of course. Yeah, I mean, especially
Sure.
if we take visual memos into consideration, that's really a fantastic tool to say, okay, yeah, to sum up a 35-minute presentation into one chart. Excellent. Yes,
Ac-
very great.
Actually, what I do when I talk to customers is I do a visual memo just for them so that we talk about the points that are most important to them. And it's about their company and each and every to go on their own path. But there is a lot of help out there, and Siemens is the one to help.
I guess that's well understood customer orientation perfectly. Thank you very much, Karina. It was a great pleasure for me to talk to you. Now I wish you a great weekend and thank you very much for staying with us. Hope to see you soon again, maybe even live. Yeah.
I hope so too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And to our viewers, please enjoy the weekend and see you next Friday again. I'm looking very much forward to get the next digital talking in the chill out, Friday chill out. Next Friday, 2 o'clock afternoon, Central European Summer Time. Thank you and bye bye.